Hundreds of Texoma residents returned to a pioneer lifestyle, huddling near wood fires and working by kerosene lanterns after more modern conveniences proved no match for winter's blast.
From KFDX3 News, the spirit of Texoma, KFDX3 News at 6 starts now.
KFDX3 reporter Katie Crosby, along with photojournalist Jake VanDonge, are also right now stuck in those accidents on 287 near Iowa Park, where they have been since very early this afternoon.
Many of us said we were dreaming of a white Christmas, but now that Christmas is here and snow is abounding, it kind of becomes a case of be careful what you wish for. In all the Christmas carols about walking in a winter wonderland, they somehow forget to mention the icy roads and backed up traffic.
Another mode of transportation brought out sounds of excitement earlier today at a sporting goods store. Academy Sports and Outdoors, along with Washington Jackson Elementary, made sure at least 24 children received new bikes and helmets. 13 bikes and helmets were designed for the girls, and the other 13 went to the boys. The 26 recipients were chosen for their outstanding behavior and consideration for others.
Outside, it's picturesque, like a scene from an old-time movie. And inside Frankie Nelson's home, it feels like a blast back to the 1930s.
My daughter went and got me some cappuccino, and that'll keep me going for another 30 minutes.
Well, maybe not the cappuccino part, but Frankie remembers using this very kerosene lantern.
We've had it for, Lord only knows how long.
To study math and reading more than 70 years ago.
It's hard for people to understand that nowadays that had never grew up that way.
On this kind of weather, elderly people, small children in homes that don't have any heat or any electricity, it's going to be hard. That's what we're worrying about now.
Electra's Police Chief Johnny Morris says the fire department's been checking on the elderly and bringing generators to some who are on oxygen.
If we don't have electricity but a night, we're going to have to shelter a lot of people.
We watched as workers hooked up a generator to Electra's million-gallon storage tank in hopes of getting water flowing to residents again. Electra Memorial Hospital uses its own generators.
We're not at full capacity when we're on generators, so it's kind of just a skeleton crew doing the basic things.
Trevor Lulk and his family own several hundred head of cattle in Electra, which are typically left to graze on their own. But since the Christmas Eve snowstorm, the Lulks have been busy delivering meals to the herd.
We've had to carry round bales out to them. We've had to use our tractors because our pickups couldn't get around in the snow. So we had to feed quite a bit of round bales to the cattle on the wheat, which we normally don't do.
He says they've also kept busy trying to make sure their cattle have access to drinking water.
We had problems with chopping ice. We've had some people in the area had their cattle walk out onto the tanks and drown in the frozen water. We've had up to 4 inches of ice in the tanks.
Lulk says some of his wheat crop froze, but there is still hope for a good harvest if the ground starts to dry up.
Temperatures around Texoma are frigid enough to turn a wet lawn into a winter wonderland, but pictures it's presenting at some area businesses are not as pleasant. The cold weather has folks giving the Humane Society of Wichita County the cold shoulder.
We haven't seen any volunteers, believe it or not, in the last 4 or 5 days.
And officials say that amounts to pets suffering from being cooped up in their kennels.
Our dogs miss it because they're not getting a lot of exercise like they normally do, but you know, now that the snow has gotten off the ground and stuff, it's probably safe to go ahead and start walking them again. We don't have to worry about frostbite on their paws.
Across town at All American Car Wash,
radiator's good.
Frostbite is not a problem on the lube side of the business. Mechanics were busy at work checking cars
Radiator's good.
and changing oil. But the weather dried up business on the car wash side.
When it's this cold, we can't open the car washes. So we just send everybody home. We wait till it gets 32 degrees, and then we'll start opening again.
Fire investigators say a portable heater is to blame for last night's fire on Winona and York that put 3 dogs in harm's way. The house fire started around 7, and by the time firefighters arrived, the fire had consumed the home.
Police were called to 10th and Austin around 10:40 this morning to investigate gunshots. Police blocked off the area, and after about 2 hours, the SWAT team went into the apartment in the 900 block of Austin, but found no one inside.
Rain, wind, and chilly temperatures. The conditions signified the approach of a winter storm Thursday, and while they didn't cause Wichita Falls school officials to cancel classes, they did have them following the forecast closely.
The district for the last couple of days have been meeting with administrative staff, and we've been, of course, reviewing the forecast and looking at contingency plans, how we're going to handle the bad weather in case it came in earlier.
The school's policy is to not release students early because of inclement weather. School officials say doing so can present problems.
There are other parents that may be working or may have their in their jobs, and that also then poses a dilemma to deliver kids to homes, and these children would be unsupervised, so that's not the ideal situation either.
However, Dr. Kazana says concerned parents can pick up their children early, and at West Foundation, that's exactly what some parents did.
If we wait the hour and the ice comes in, we might get stuck.
Keeping all students safe is a top priority for school officials, and officials say keeping more than 16,000 students and staff members safe can be tricky.
Living in Texas, you have to have some flexibility, and you have to be open to the fact that the weather may change.
Refracted light coming off of the sun to the moon loses its color. So when it comes toward Earth, if we have a thin layer of ice crystals, which is what we have out there tonight, you saw them this afternoon, it causes refraction, just like a prism. And since it doesn't have the color that sunlight does, we get this big circle of white around the moon. The thicker the crystals of ice, the smaller the circle. And eventually, if it gets thick enough, it goes away. So we have thin cirrus out there, thin ice crystals. That's what caused that. It happens quite often, not unusual, not a portent of anything to happen.
Look at that. Tobin McDuffie's going to be playing with us. You have no chance of beating the Globetrotters. We're going to preview that game coming up next in sports. Hershey and Burke Burnett in the first quarter. Casey Castro with the three-pointer. She finished with 14 points, had 4 of those three-pointers, make it 3-zip. Then De'Ara Bradley, off the miss. LaToris Richardson gets the rebound, 3-2. But you got to get back up on the defensive end. Holly Cannon finishes at 5-2. Burke. Macy Cook leads the way with 19 points as Burke Burnett picks up a 75-49 win. The Huskies held the ball in the final 90 seconds, setting up one final shot. Darrell Gibbs blocked the shot and then started the break the other way. Michael Elphick scored with a second remaining to give Burke the 70-68 win.
That was a heck of a game. I'll tell you, it's a shame anybody had to lose. Hershey played really tough, played a good game. I thought our guys played great too. You know, just kind of who got the break at the end is what that was going to be.
It's just round 1 of the District 5-3A championship, but Burke Burnett will be ready for the future rounds. 2% of the time, the Generals win. I don't think that's going to happen tonight. There are the Globetrotters coming out. Tobin McDuff, very relaxed, very chill. He gets out on the court, wide open shot, no defense at all, and he drops in the three-pointer. 3 points, more than I scored last year. McDuff, you're doing work. And then he gets fouled and pinned. 1, 2, 3. So he goes to the free throw line. First free throw, he misses. Oh, come on, McDuff. Second one, as he does a little shimmy with his shorts hiked up all the way. Makes the free throw. 4 points for Tobin McDuff. That's a record for any guest general, but it wasn't enough. Globetrotters win 88-63, and somebody in the audience gets wet. Yikes.